there's a balance you got to strike between uh, being able to look back and appreciate the fruits of your labors, right? And like you said, it's really great to see the, the physical, to see this your work paying off when you work out, your muscles grow, you get stronger, and you can appreciate that. But then eh, there's a limit to looking in the rear view mirror, right? You can't. It's okay to look back, but don't stare. And what I'm saying is, like it's good to feel a sense of satisfaction, but don't be satisfied, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's when complacency sets in, and like you were saying, always looking for the hard thing to do. But uh, it's one of the toughest things for me through my military career, and I guess in life was saying, catching myself saying I made it, right? Which instantly, makes you feel like you should put your heels up, kick back, and then all of a sudden that's when you get surprised. So uh, I know the army for me was one of those things where it was constantly how can you improve? Uh,
Hmm.
Congratulations on your accomplishments. Now keep going. So you became a ranger and special operations. I remember my first deployment to Afghanistan. I was in Fob Farah, way out western deserts of Afghanistan. There was a ODA compound right next door, and those guys were jacked.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
bulbous
Yeah.
jacked. And
Yeah.
I swear they were just crossing over the border in Iran, or going up to Herat and getting the black market steroid stuff.
Ah, they didn't have to go over there.
Oh my gosh, it was it almost like, how do you even move with the giant? It was huge biceps, huge pecs. Uh, I'm like, what are you? How do you can't even turn your neck? Some of these guys were so ridiculously huge. But okay, that like just kind of leads me to what were you lifting for? I know you lifted competitively. Was this powerlifting? Was this bodybuilding? Are you lifting for size, for strength?
Uh, different periods of my life. In high school, it was get stronger, get bigger, get fat, everything. Because I mean, you're the teenager, so everything needs to improve.
Hmm.
But I mean, I think the goal was always probably to get bigger when I was younger because that was, I correlate size with strength to a point. And then it became when I got into Olympic weightlifting, it was about getting faster, more explosive.
Hmm.
And so that's where a lot of my training shifted. And then when I got into strongman, and also complete transparency, when I got into strongman, PEDs were allowed. In Olympic weightlifting, it wasn't something that I even touched. I didn't even consider because it was, you can get tested. And if you get tested, you're going to embarrass your coach and then you just embarrass your team. And that's not acceptable. It's like, it was an easy, like, oh, I'm not doing that. But then when I went to strongman, it's one of those, well, if you're not really trying, kind of things. Almost like if you're going to go be a pro bodybuilder, there's a part of it that's a part of the territory. If you're going to go try to take a world title as a strongman in a particular weight class or chase a national title, I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but for majority of people, it's necessary. So when I got to strongman, it was about getting as big and as strong as I possibly could, but the training wasn't hypertrophy. Like I wasn't trying I wasn't training like a bodybuilder. I trained really heavy all the time. I just did a lot of volume. But when I say a lot of volume, it might have been 8 sets of 3 or something like that. That's quite a bit of volume for, a strength athlete. Um, and then a lot of my accessories were all higher volume, which then created the muscular capacity. But at the same time, it did quite a bit of hypertrophy. So I I don't want to say I really trained for one particular thing ever, because I mean I was a smaller 100 kilo guy. Because when I competed at 220, I mean there was guys cutting from 250, and I showed up 217, 218, like just because I wasn't one of the bigger guys. I still did really well though. I still did really well because I had a lot of speed attachments. I spent my whole life, playing football and doing ranger stuff. So like speed was something that was always paramount, which carried over really well into strongman. But I digress. But so like what I was training for, it just depends on the season. So like, now I'm in a place to where I just want to be able to run a 7-minute mile, but still deadlift, 485, like 485, 500 pounds. Like that's still something that is super attainable, and it's super maintainable so long as I train a particular modality, because I spent decades of my life building the foundation that can facilitate that at 40. I just years and years and years and my whole life training as consistently as I have, the density and muscle tissue that I've built over the last 3 decades, 2.5 decades, has allowed me to get to where I think I'm going to start focus on running for the next 6 weeks, and I don't lose a whole lot of strength.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can focus on getting strong again, and I don't lose a whole lot of speed, so long as I maintain a healthy balance. So now it's more so just about maintaining balance, being able to go 4 or 5 90-second, 120-second rounds on a bag without being completely gassed. I mean, you should be gassed. It's you're going to get what you put in, but still being able to operate at a particular pace that is uncomfortable but sustainable. Like I know that I can operate at this pace for every single round for the next 5 rounds, or I can push it a little bit harder the last 10. Like it's just understanding where my body's at and having that capacity, and comprehending my capacity, and being able to identify and apply it in a higher state when necessary, and then dial back when necessary. So now it's, like I said, it's more so just about understanding my body, what I'm capable of, and then learning how to pace myself to get from point A to point B as effectively as possible.